those that cannot fast Ramadan, okay? Easier way to say it. Those people that have the option, or it is even not allowed for them to fast Ramadan. 4 types of people. Firstly, number 1, the traveler and the sick person. Put them all together. The traveler and the sick person. Okay? For both of these categories, it is allowed for them not to fast. If you're traveling or you are sick. What do you mean by sick? It means you have a band-aid in your hand, you have a little cut, that's sick? No. It means a sickness that will be harmed or prolonged, one of the two, by your fast. If you have a headache, that's not a sickness that's going to be harmed or prolonged by the fast. It's something you don't consider a sickness. Okay? We're talking about a sickness. I mean, you're really sick. That if you were to fast, then that fast would cause you harm or would make your sickness longer. So the sick man and the one who is traveling, it is not obligatory on them to fast. If they fast, it is allowed and their fast is accepted, but it is not obligatory on them to fast. If they don't fast, what do they have to do? Make it up. They make it up. Yeah, they have to make it up after they. So, for example, you went traveling for 1 week in Ramadan. Okay, during that week you have the option. You're allowed to fast and you're allowed to break your fast. If you were to fast, that's fine. Okay. By the way, both are allowed. You can't say one is preferred one over the other. You look at your situation, whichever one is easier for you. For example, I remember when I was traveling to America in Ramadan, it was easier for me to fast. And we were going in an airplane out. I don't want to miss and make it up the next day, So I fasted that day, okay? At the same time, if we were physically going to be traveling, especially like driving or something, I wouldn't have fasted. Not from America to Medina, I'm saying driving in America or something, I wouldn't have fasted. Because you need to drink, you need to freshen yourself up, you need to be alert, drink coffee, whatever. Basically, take it back to your situation, whatever is more convenient for you. You're allowed to fast, you're allowed to break your fast in Ramadan. Both are allowed, if you're traveling. Likewise, if you're sick, you take it back to yourself. If you think that you can be patient and handle it, that's fine, right? Otherwise, break your fast and make it up when you get cured. Now, the sickness that we're talking about here is the type that is going to be cured, like a fever, for example. Good example, a fever. You know that InshaAllah, if Allah wills, InshaAllah, it's not a permanent disease that's going to last for the rest of your life, something temporary. So in this case, you're allowed to fast and you're allowed to make up. You're allowed to fast and you're allowed to break, and if you break it, then you have to make it up later on. This is based on clear verses in the Quran. فَمَنْ كَانَ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخْرَى. Okay, so Allah clearly says in the Quran, whoever is sick or traveling, then he can make it up later on. Clear verse in the Quran. Okay, it's verse 184, by the way. Surah Baqarah, verse 184. Whoever is sick or traveling, he can make it up later on. This is the first category. Those for whom it is allowed to fast, and it is allowed to what? To break it and make it up later on. Okay, the second category, those for whom it is prohibited to fast. On whom is it prohibited to fast in the month of Ramadan? The woman that is menstruating and the woman that is in her nifas. The ha'id and the nufasa. The one who is in her haid and her the postpartum bleeding, right? Post-birth bleeding. For these women, it is not allowed, it is haram for them to fast. So, for a woman in her menstruation, she does not fast in Ramadan. After Ramadan finishes, she should make it up. The earlier the better. Okay? Likewise, if she's in her after childbirth bleeding, then she makes it up whenever she gets an opportunity to do so. She doesn't have to give any money or any expiation for them. Okay? This is a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that Aisha said that the Prophet ﷺ commanded the menstruating woman to make up the fast, but not the prayer. Okay? So the menstruating woman must make up the fast and not the prayer. Okay, suppose she started fasting in the daytime, okay? And 10 minutes before Maghrib, her menstruation started. What does that mean? Her fast is nullified and she must make up that whole day again. Likewise, the opposite. Suppose she stopped her fast, she stopped her menstruation 5 minutes after Fajr. Doesn't matter, it's too late. Okay? However, if her hayd stopped before Fajr, but she didn't take a shower until after Fajr, that's alright. Okay? So if her hayd stopped like 10 minutes before Fajr, right? But she did not take a bath until after Fajr, that's alright. The point is her hayd must stop before Fajr in order for her fast to be acceptable, and likewise it must not start until after Maghrib in order for that day to be acceptable as a fast. So this is the second category. The third category are old people or a sickness that is permanent. So for example, certain types of diabetics, right? They cannot fast. Permanent sickness. Certain extreme cases of diabetics, they cannot fast. They must have their food or they will die. These people, they have to give the expiation. They have to pay for every day. They have to feed a poor person. Every day that they don't fast, they have to give as an expiation the meal of one person. What is the meal of one person? Goes back to your culture. Okay? So if you give every day that you don't fast McDonald's, whatever, burger, well, if you consider it halal day, fish burger, let's say, fries and, whatever. I mean, a meal that goes back to your culture, okay? Or some rice and chicken, right? Basically, for every day, you have to give one meal that you did not fast. If you, like for example, if your parents are not fasting, right? And you are responsible for taking care of them, they can't take care of them, then you have to pay on their behalf, every day, food for one person. Likewise, if there's a sickness that cannot be cured. So so far so clear, because even the Quran says, it's the same verse that we mentioned, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ, that those that cannot do it, they cannot fast, meaning the old people, they have to give a fidya or an expiation of feeding poor people. So far these three categories, there is like consensus.